So we're gonna make a little video here on how to remove your recoil from a Skidoo and put a new one in. So let's do it. We got Matt's brand new sled, brand new to him. It's a 2014 in really good shape, and this was literally the first time he took it out. And the recoil failed, which is the thing right there. It's the rope you pull out to start your snow machine. Problems, flipped the snow machine, couple wrecks, recoil blown.
Well, good thing it's fucking 8 feet deep, so.
Now these boys just picked up a new recoil starter. So we're gonna put that in right now. Last one in stock. There you have it. All right, it's currently dumping snow. Step one, get down to the Skidoo dealership, get yourself a new recoil. I think this one was like 165 bucks. This isn't my sled, but putting it in for a buddy. Your recoil kit is going to come with a new recoil. How about that? The tools you're gonna need are a T30 Torx wrench. Ideally, it'd have like a T-handle. We don't have that, so we're dealing with that. But if the torque bolt is really hard to get off, you could probably put pliers on the screwdriver and turn it and loosen it up that way. Next thing you're gonna need is a spring puller. Just get it out of here. It's like a steel rod with a little hook right there, so you can either push a spring or pull a spring. Pretty useful. You could attempt it with needle nose pliers, but I wouldn't recommend it. You're also gonna need yourself a socket wrench with some kind of extension and a 10mm socket on the end. And you will also need yourself a 17mm open end / box end wrench. All right, let's get to it. So the very first thing you're gonna do is remove your side panels. One strap there, one strap there. Work it off. Up or down, whatever you're gonna do, just get it off of there, put it aside. So the one downside to replacing your recoil is you've got your exhaust in the way, so you need to remove this to get to the recoil behind it. Let's do that. So the first thing we're gonna do is remove the temperature sensor, which is just essentially a nut right there we're gonna unscrew, and that'll pull right out. So let's do that. To remove the temperature sensor gauge, you need that 17mm open end wrench. There we go, she's loose. And she's off. And when you get your temperature sensor gauge off, don't lose that little clip right there. You're gonna set that aside where it does not get into your way. We're gonna go ahead and tuck this little temperature sensor off to the side so we don't lose it. So the next step, you have to remove the exhaust with your spring puller. So let's get that going. There's 4 springs you have to remove. One here at the bottom, one right here at the front, and you have 2 springs up top. So let's get those out. The spring puller, a little bit tricky, but you just kind of work it, get that lip in there. Let's take some playing around. See how that's grabbing it like that? Push, and she's out. And don't lose that spring. All right. Third one. All right, third one's off. And your fourth one, a little bit tricky to get to. And usually, in my experience, the one that's most buried in the back is always the toughest one to get. It's a thing called Murphy's Law, maybe even. And she is off. So at this point, all 4 springs are removed. The one in the back, the one in the front, and the 2 on top. So now we can remove the exhaust. Just work it, you know. And she's out, just like that. Here's your exhaust. Put it off to the side. All right, come on in, check it out. Okay, so now that the exhaust is out of the way, you can clearly see your recoil is right here. It's this little round disc guy. So now your next step is to take this T30. You need to remove 4 of the torque wrench bolts. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's get those off. Get this top one off here. Oh, that's really hard to get. That's really hard to get. We got it. There's one. There's one. They're about 1 inch long, so don't lose them. And just set them right here so don't lose them. All right, so we get the first one out. So now let's get the left one out. If you go out and buy a tool for this, make sure to buy a long torque wrench so you can actually reach it. I can't get it. You're working in the dark and in the snow, so ideally your T30 torque wrench would have a T-handle on it like this, so you could get leverage, but we don't have that, so we're gonna do it Timmy style. Make our own leverage. Boom. There it goes. See, that just broke it free right there. Bring you guys back on in now. So let's take that T30 out there. Same thing, set that aside. So now the 2 T30 bolts on top are out. Let's get those bottom 2 out now. So this bottom torque bolt right there, it's in a weird spot. So you need a really long torque wrench to get way back in there to reach it. Don't go cheap on it, make sure you get a long one. All right, that one's really hard to get, so it's Timmy leverage time. Boom. So do this one now. Our 4th one, which is right down here. Same thing, Timmy leverage again. And you can tell this cover is already trying to come off. So. And there you go. All 4 of the torque bolts are out. The recoil is loose, so we're gonna go ahead and pull it out of here. Finagle it out. So we just pulled the recoil out, it's right here. So let's swap it out with the new one, how about it? So now that the recoil is loose, we have to come over here to your pull cord and undo that knot right there, otherwise known as I'm just gonna freaking cut it with a knife. Now before we cut the recoil with a knife, we're gonna take this one because it doesn't feel totally bad. Let's go ahead and tie a knot in it so it doesn't suck all the rope inside, like that. So see that knot stops it from sliding in. There we go. Once you cut that cord, it should slide right on out, and there you go. Maybe it can be fixed, I don't know. But we're gonna put the new one in now. All right, at this point, let's put this new recoil in. Okay, so new recoil times. You can already tell the rope has a knot in it right there. So we're gonna leave that in so it doesn't suck the rope in. This recoil already feels a lot stronger than the other one. So what you're gonna do is insert that recoil. You can see right there, can you guys see this? The number 1, number 2, number 3. So what we need to do is line this number 1 hole up with that T30 Torx bolt right there on the left, on the top left. So let's do that. Same thing like anything, you just kind of work it in there. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So now we're gonna put the right Torx bolt in. I'll tighten them up at the very end here. And let's go ahead and get that bottom one in again down here. Get it in there. Freaking gotcha, boy. Okay, I have all 4 of the Torx bolts in, the 2 on the top and the 2 on the bottom. All right, so at this point, the new recoil is installed. All 4 of the Torx bits are tightened up. And now we need to reroute this rope through the pull cord assembly area. All right, you guys come over here. Hey, look, it's Groundhog Day. It's coming out. And she's through. So now the pull cord rope has been pulled through the pull cord assembly area, whatever you call it. And now the first thing we're gonna do is put this rope through the handle right now before the recoil sucks the rope back in. And we're gonna tie ourselves some kind of knot, I guess. I don't really know what to tie. I think just a normal overhand knot. So cross it like that, put it through, and all right, my little overhand knot has been tied. So we're gonna slip it up in there, pull on it really hard, make sure it's not gonna come out or anything crazy. Rock solid. Put your pull cord down, come back over here. So now that the handle is tied to the rope, we're gonna pull the rope out and we're gonna take out this little knot. And hope to God you tied that knot good in the handle. Otherwise the rope gets sucked in the recoil forever. Woo! There it is. And you can tell it's working correctly. Just check that it's catching. Beautiful. So now we're just gonna put the exhaust back on. And all you do when you put your exhaust back on, you just have to get your opening here lined up with your pipe right there. And this little hook right there has to go over that. All right, so that one back hook is kind of over the little frame holding the exhaust in place. And everything is lined up with the pipes. So now let's put those springs on. Just grab that good old spring puller. So now what we're gonna do is put the top exhaust springs on first, which are right up there.
Still looks brand new to me.
I think it's almost done. All right, there's the first spring in. Now we're gonna do the second spring, which is right back here. There she goes. This one right here is pretty easy. One hook right there. There's the bottom one in the back. Now we get the one last spring up front. There we go. A little cast nut washer just keeps the nut from spinning. So that goes in there. That's your temperature sensor, just drops back in, screwed in. It's a 17 millimeter wrench again. And yeah, put your side panel on, you're done basically. And if you guys don't know the torque specs, just don't go too crazy on it. Just a good solid hand tight. And then we're gonna get the panel on. We'll bomb. Fire it up. Yeah! That's right. You could have done that in like probably 15 minutes if I wasn't filming.
Timmy right here sets up shop in the snow while we're sitting up there.
Cooking up steaks.
Fixes the whole thing. That's what a good friend does.
That steak better be ready is what
It's gonna be a good
friend
steak. I'm
does.
cooking steak.
Then he pulls forward and hits his truck. And that's how you put in a recoil on a Skidoo. How about that? Pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And maybe I'll teach you something else one day.